A very good evening and a very warm welcome to our Buddhist Mahavir's Facebook page. We are here live at our regular BMV Dhammadana series. And this evening, we have a very special topic to discuss. And I think this will interest many of our viewers and those who have been following the Dhammadana series. It's a little different from the normal Buddhist topics that we've been discussing over the past 2 years. This is something that affects everyone currently in this modern time and age. And with us, we have a very distinguished professor and researcher on the subject, and we're talking about cancer this evening and how cancer has affected our lives and is really affecting most of the people around the world. Everybody has someone who has suffered from cancer or passed away from cancer. And here we have this evening a professor, a doctor from Texas, Houston, Texas, to talk to us about his research that he has done over the years and how he has amalgamated Western medicine philosophies also with Buddhist principles and philosophies and see how we can marry the two to overcome or maybe even prevent cancer. So, with great pleasure, I would like to now invite Dr. Gomika from Texas. Dr. Gomika Udugamasooriya. Good morning, doctor. I know it's very early for you in Texas, and
Yeah, good
we take great
afternoon.
pleasure in having you with us this evening. Without much ado, let me just quickly read the doctor's profile for those of you who are not very familiar with Dr. Gomika. Now, Dr. Gomika is an associate professor of medicinal chemistry at the Department of Pharmacological and Pharmaceutical Sciences at the University of Houston, Texas, in USA. Dr. Gomika is also working at the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, which is actually the world's largest medical center since 2014. He's also involved in cancer research and teaching medicinal chemistry. Dr. Gomika is directing a multi-million dollar cancer research program mainly focused on cancer drug candidate discovery and diagnostic tool developments funded by research grants from the US National Institute of Health, the NIH, the Department of Defense, the DoD, Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas, the Owens Foundation, and various other sources. He has also published over 100 research articles and abstracts and has spoken at over 40 seminars in USA and worldwide. He has also, with him, 8 patents to his name. Although trained and having a career in Western medical research, Dr. Gomika is an artist, a philosopher, and a practicing Buddhist. He's actively engaged in conducting seminars and workshops worldwide on cancer prevention and research, highlighting the value of practicing holistic medical approaches that includes developing good eating habits, building psychological strengths, practicing meditation, positive thinking, in addition to conventional cancer treatments. So, with that, we have with us this evening, as I mentioned, Dr. Gomika Udugamasooriya. And now I would like to hand the studio to Dr. Gomika to explain to us on the subject of my answer for my cancer. So, Dr. Gomika.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tilak, for that very kind introduction. And good evening to everyone in Malaysia, and also good morning and good afternoon to all the other viewers joining from all over the world. First of all, I want to thank Malaysian Buddhist Mahavihara for this invitation to deliver this talk. Which is very important for everyone, as Mr. Tilak mentioned. So I'm going to talk to you about this very important discussion about cancer. And it's not only about just the cancer treatment, but I'm mainly talking about how to prevent that, and also what are the roles that individuals like us, like me, can do to prevent and also the treatment for the cancer. So um, this talk is not going to be like just a normal Dhamma talk, but I will be in touch with Dhamma. Dhamma is everywhere, as we all know. And in cancer, we can utilize a lot of tools that have been implemented in this very interesting philosophical area of Buddhism. So my topic, you see, is my answer for my cancer. So we always blame the outside for everything, but in this cancer problem also, I'm going to show you what are the things we can do as an individual to prevent and treat cancer rather than waiting help from the outside. All right. So I want to ask you all to bear with me. I'm a researcher. I'm a medical scientist. So I have a lot of scientific slides, but I will be explaining all of them in lay language. Please bear with me. The latter part of the talk is going to be the most important for everyone. So stay tuned. So let me begin with giving you this picture. So this is a village, a system. So it contains houses, roads, bridges, and schools, courts, and rivers, and everything, right? So that's the system. So the same way, our body is also a system. It contains a lot of different organs, and they all together form this human body system, and then it works all together. Okay, so I'm going to promise you to get back to this picture at the end of my talk. Let's move on to getting into the topic directly. Okay, the cancer. Now we all know what is it, how it is dangerous to everyone, and here I'm showing the cancer distribution in the worldwide. The highly red is the highest prominence, and then the lower the color means less. But here I'm actually showing in 1990. Now let's look at after about 2 to 3 decades later, it become even more. So I'm going back and I'm going come forward. So it is more. You can see it is increasing over the time, and also it not only pose a health problem, but it also give us a lot of headaches in the economy, from family situation to the country. And also, it leaves a lot of psychological hardships, like the cancer survivors, even really suffering, thinking may it come back, and how it affect my family, how I can pay my bills, and there are a lot of concerns associated with this problem. So I don't need to go into a lot of details of what is it. So let's begin with getting into a little bit of science and biology. All right. So like any system, our human body also made out of cells. So it's like if you build a house, the bricks are the equivalent to the cells. Okay, so human body has about 37 trillion cells. And if you take the body, it is consists with the organs, and then organs are consist with the cells. Now, cancer is actually an uncontrolled cell growth within the normal tissue. So, in every cell, normally they divide. One cell become 2, and then that become 4, and that become 8. So that's how the cells growing, and that's how our life began, with a single cell, and they are growing and growing and growing and form organs, and our body is built. That's the normal process. Okay, and to do that, there are a lot of things happen, and there are a lot of signaling going on, and one of them actually is the growth hormones. Growth signaling comes in, and then this is actually cellular level. The signals come in, and then there are receivers on the cells, and then the signal is given to the inside the cell, and then the genes express, and then the cell grows. Okay, so in normal situation, there are two types of signaling coming in, asking cells to grow. So the normal cells grow. Now, after some time, these cells become old and they can defect. So therefore, there is a stop signaling also comes in, saying, okay, you are old now, you need to finish. So that's how the normal cell cycle goes. But in cancerous situation, what happened is this growth signal continuously come in, and it stopped listening to this stop signal. So it doesn't listen to this stop signal, so it continuously grow. Okay, so let me show it in different way. So the normal cell divide, and always a normal cell become a cancer. Now, before it become a cancer, it actually start going in wrong direction. I will use that word, wrong direction. So when the cell started going on wrong direction, in scientifically what is happening is inside there are mutations happening. So they are not normal. Now what happened is, this happens always in our body. Right now when I'm talking, it happens in my body, and in your bodies also this happens every moment. But there are natural systems to catch them and remove them. But if they survive on those, get through these natural systems and acquire more and more mutations and getting worse and worse, after one point, it become a tumor. And then these tumors grow uncontrollably. So that's kind of how the tumors growing. Now here I'm actually summarizing this whole process, and please remember this slide, and I'll bring it many times. So the full normal cell start mutating, that means going on the wrong direction. These are called precancerous cells, and then after one point the repair cannot be done and it move forward and become a cancer. Now, like I said, every moment, even right now, this thing happening in our bodies. Remember that every moment this is happening in our body. But don't worry, there are a lot of natural mechanisms are there to stop this going on the wrong direction and put it back to the normal, or take out from the equation. All right, so now here is the whole story. Normal cells are there on your very left corner. So one cell going on the wrong direction, and it acquires more and more mutations and start growing and becoming a tumor, and then it goes into the uncontrollable growth phase with the blood vessels formation, and then the tumor starts spreading. All right, so in this, like I said, in this beginning area, it is normal also. There are natural mechanisms to stop these cells. But when we come to this level, the natural mechanisms cannot do that. It passes that phase, and then we have a tumor, we have a cancer. So there are a lot of efforts we need to put together. So what is happening in this area? We don't care about this, right? And it not only care, but we just like I'm showing, we are just sleeping on this dangerous situation. We don't care about it, and what happened is at the very end we fall into the trouble. So in today's talk, what I'm going to do mainly is try to get rid of this red tape that is closed, that close your eyes and take you out of this trouble, and try to show you what are the things we can do to get out of this problem. Okay. And because if we get into this level, we all know how hard it is to get out of it, right? If you are lucky, you can escape. If not, in majority, it is not the case. Okay. All right. So I'm just briefly showing where I'm working. So University of Houston on the left side, and then the right side, the MD Anderson Cancer Center. Now, together, these two and several other institutes, the Texas Medical Center is being formed. The Texas Medical Center is the world's largest medical center, and also MD Anderson Cancer Center is the largest cancer concentrated medical center. And there are a lot of scientific developments, and new therapies are available. And there are, I mean, as when the Western medical system uh, developed through a lot of research and input, there are a lot of therapy modules have been developed, and you know already most of them: surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, targeted therapy. Then there are a lot of modern techniques like hormone therapy, immune therapy, photodynamic therapy, stem cell transplant, and there are lots of novel medical treatments are available. And there are all these cutting edge treatments are happening in our medical center and also worldwide. But anyway, through that, the researchers, the scientists, the doctors were able to improve the situation over the last few decades. Here, actually, I'm showing you a slide that shows how the survival rates, the patient survival rates, been improved over the years. This is actually from 1970s to about 2010, about 30 to 40 years improvement. So in each one, let's say you take this melanoma and or the stomach cancer right here. So in 70s, the 15% was this 5-year survival rate, and then now it is about 30%. So it's been improved. Now, if I take kind of a rough average, this was where we were in 1970s. Now this is where we are now. It improved. But I want to pay your attention to something. So again, thanks to the very huge efforts done by the researchers, scientists, and the doctors who are working on this field. But you need to look at this. Over 30 to 40 years, we were able to move the needle about 17% in average. So we all know there's no cure for cancer. We can say, oh, there is a cure. There's nothing like that. So um, there are a lot of reasons for that. I'm going to show you some of those challenges we are facing in this cancer field. So this is again World Health Organization showing how the predictions into the future. It's not going to go down worldwide. At least the developed countries are kind of in somewhat control, but it is not a cure, not going down. So we have to rely on this. So we are relying on this. Our life has become this: drugs, medication. But you need to ask the question: can we resolve everything from drugs? So let me talk about a little bit about drug from the drug discovery point to the future. Now, in drug discovery, like we are working on, at the very beginning, a lot of effort going on the laboratories, and there are about from about 10,000 compounds, it gets only 250 into the next level, which is the preclinical level, the animal studies, and then only about 5 getting into the human trials, and then finally to develop one drug. So this is a very long process, and you see about how much you spend and how much time taken. $1 to $2 billion and about 10 to 15 years for this whole process. Actually, I want to mention something here that I personally experienced. So I'm also working on this field, but there was some misleading and wrong Facebook posts were going around saying I found a drug. Actually, that is not correct. It's true. I have some patented compounds going on through this long cycle. They are drug candidates. They have not become drugs yet. So please bear in mind. That was a kind of a misleading post, and I have never said that. And but anyway, somehow that has been created and it's been circulating. Anyway, let's get back to the talk. So the drug discovery is very hard. And then here I'm showing you how much expenditures. So in this graph, I'm showing how much new drugs come out per $1 billion spent on research. In 1950s, there were a lot of drugs come out, but you see over the time it has been declining. Now it's about only one drug per $1 billion. So that's a concern, right? And then if you look at this plot, these blues indicate how much we spend on money for the research. It's increasing and increasing and increasing. But these dots indicate how much drugs came out of that. So that's not changing much. So that's a concern, right? Okay, and here also showing the same thing. How much drugs came out over the years, not much improved, and especially the cancer drugs on the very bottom. There are not much drugs come out in recent years. There were some, but it's not a drastic change as compared to how much money we put in. So all these are concerns in drug discovery. Why is that? Oh, it's not a problem with the scientists or researchers. It's because of the complexity of the cancer. Now, here I'm actually showing a tumor cells connected to blood vessel. Now we all think tumor is just another cell mass. No, it's a very complex combination of cells. So if you have 100 cells, if you kill 80, 90, you think, okay, we won the battle. No, if you even kill 99, the remaining one can bring back the tumor again. So the complexity is the biggest problem. So the chemotherapy is not directing specific for cancer. It actually has a lot of side effects. So there are limitations on chemotherapy. Now in targeted therapy, we target some biomolecules in cancer, but they also very heterogeneous. Some cells has those and some cells don't have. So the drug doesn't work on every cell. And also, I mentioned signaling. Now, this signaling also very complex. Now, for example, if you take Sri Lanka, an island, as a cell, let's say we want to send a signal to the Kandy, the mid of the country. So we go to the airport and take the Kandy road and go to Kandy. So if you want to block this signaling, we can shut down the airport, but we can enter through the harbor and take the same Kandy road and complete our signal. So it's like that. So the cancer is very cunning. If you block one way, it open up another way. So that's another problem for drug discovery. So drugs are not working all cancers. And then there are very stubborn sets of cells are there. They are very strong. They even have mechanisms to throw out the drug from those cells. And then there are not proper diagnostic and therapy monitoring tools. So all these are very make this cancer problem very problematic and very complex. All right, what do I do at this point? It's really scary, right? But let's see what we can do. There are actually a lot of things we can do. All right, so I showed you this slide before sometime early. So what I'm going to do now here is, so we are in danger like this. So let's take out this red tape in your eyes. Okay, so I'm going to take it out, but we all sleeping on this danger. So let's wake up and start looking into this. All right. I have already shown this area where how the cancer begins and become bigger and bigger, right? So let's start by looking at what causes cancer. All right. So let's go and look at the root causes, not just the causes. That's where we got wrong. We need to look at the root causes. So when we hear the root causes, it's always this great master, the Lord Buddha, who taught us to look at the root causes and get into the very beginning of the problem. And that can solve so many downstream problems. Okay, so I'm going to get back to that again later. Now, if you look at the root causes, now it is the evolutionary buildup. I will explain why I said the evolutionary buildup. Now, this was the kind of the description that came through the scientific community for last decade or two. This is actually published by Nature Reviews, one of the world's topmost scientific journals, and it says about not only this, there are so many other sources also. About 30% reason is tobacco, the smoking, and then about 35% of the reasons is due to diet, wrong food habits. Now, this is there. Let's go a little bit into the past. Like about 1980s, 90s, this diet contribution was not appreciated. People thought only tobacco is the main cause. There are a lot of other things. Let's go further back into the history. Even the tobacco was not appreciated at the early stages. 1950s, 60s, we blame 100% outside. We were talking about UV, pollution, environmental things, and we blame completely outside things for the cancer. Now let's walk back. So we were like that at the early stage, and then we start understanding, okay, yes, smoking is contributing, and now we say yes, the diet also contributing. What is the situation right now? Now we have another factor, which is stress. So, and it has not been like quantified yet, but I figure, I think, in my opinion, that is the main cause. That has a lot to do. And towards the end of my talk, you will see a lot of scientific evidence, and that's what most of this now the scientific world is recognizing. Okay, now if you look at this picture, 30% tobacco, 35% diet, and kind of equal amount stress. That's a huge amount of factors contributing. They all originating from one side, which is me. So I'm going to change the title from what causes cancer to who causes cancer. Who causes cancer? Actually, earlier, tobacco, that's me. And then we know tobacco and diet. So my factor is increasing. And now it is really big. Smoking, diet, stress. They're all coming from me, right? So there are a lot of things as an individual we can do to battle with this cancer. That is what I'm going to actually talk to you today. So let's see. It's me. So when it comes to me again and again, there's no other philosophy or teaching than Buddhism telling us about me. Go back and look at yourself, who you are and what is happening, and understanding yourself. Again, I'm going back to get back to this after going through some scientific slides further. So since who causes cancer, and it is me, so let's try to find out answers, my answers for my cancer. All right, we know three main factors: tobacco, diet, and stress. Let's go through each of those rapidly. Tobacco, I don't think I need to explain this. All these are really, really toxic components found in smoke, and I just want to show you a normal lung and also what happened with the smoker's lung. And it's not only you burn yourself, actually you burn your family, the whole environment, the society, and not only that, you actually give it to the next generation also, the defects. Now let's see what we have done about the smoking. And this is a very interesting story. And all of those, I'm actually showing you real facts, the data. So this actually showing from 1900 to almost recent times, this black line shows cigarette sales per day in US. So it went up and up and up, and then it goes down. And there was a time that all these celebrities, the VIPs, openly smoking. But over the time, everybody realizes this is not good. So in this bottom graph showing lung cancer death rates from 1950s to recent times. Now let's look at this red bar is the 1950s. So the smoking was increasing, the death rates start going up, and when it is come to about this time frame, the death rates really going high because the smoking was high. But people realizes it is not good, so it was slowing down. And now after that, this era was gone. The smoking was identified as a very bad thing, so it was going down, but the death rates were going up, but it become a plateau. And then while we are still making it down, now the rates started coming down. So we did it. We can do this. So we can actually, if we really understand the problem and try to bring in solutions, we can do that. So I'm confirming that. So this is the world map marked with smoking distribution. Again, the dark reds are the higher smoking. Actually, these are cancer deaths due to attributed to tobacco. So this is 1990. Look at the world map carefully. Now I'm going to go to the recent times, 2019, about 3 decades later. It's gone down. See, now I'm going back. It's a lot of red in 1990, but after 3 decades, it's going down. So we are controlling this. That's really good. I think most of the people understand this factor. So we are looking for answers for my cancer. So the first answer, quit smoking. So with that, we are 30% safe. So from getting a cancer, right? Now I'm 30% safe if we quit smoking. All right, let's look at the second factor, the diet. All right, so let's go back to the introductory slide that I mentioned, a normal cell going in the wrong direction over the time and then become a cancer. Now you need to understand that this takes a long time, sometimes 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Sometimes it is fast, but this is very long. Now there are a lot of ways we can control this. So diet is one of them. If we have a natural diet, it helps all these natural mechanisms that are working on taking out these wrong cells before they become cancer. So this good diet actually boosts the mechanisms, especially the immune system of the body. It actually, immune system is the one that really worked on this area, serving and looking for these bad cells. And that is really helped by the natural food. And also this food has a lot of anti-cancer compounds and they can directly attack these cells. Let's see a little bit further. We know natural food, and I'm not going to talk about natural food today. We all know what are the good qualities we have in natural food. I don't have time, but this is a completely a separate talk if we get into this topic in detail. And then processed food that we usually eat now has the natural composition is altered, and also there are a lot of artificial additives are being added to this processed food. Both are not good. Now let's look at again. This is showing this cancer cell growth starting from normal cell to getting into the cancerous situation. Now these are some of the chemical compounds identified from those natural food I'm going to show you in a minute. So they can attack all these wrong cells that are trying to become cancer. So if we take this normal diet with this natural food 3 times a day, they can control all these wrong things going down on the wrong side. So these are some of the very famous food that you know, and I'm actually putting chemical structures that found inside these compounds. very well validated in the Western research. And these are just like drugs, right? So they attack the tumors. And also there's another long list. And there are a lot of studies done, and I'm actually showing only one of them. For example, if you take bitter melon, um, there are over 100 research articles have been published, and there are a lot of actions, a lot of chemical compounds found in this bitter melon with a lot of biological activities, and anti-cancer activity is one of them. Okay, and so, like I said, these compounds can attack these cells that are going on the wrong direction. And processed food don't have this much, so that side is weakened, and also it's not good. So because the natural the processed food has their natural composition is being changed, and there are artificial additives added to this processed food as preservatives, and in every one of these there are a lot of artificial chemicals that have been added. They are not good for our body, and this is again a long list of this, and I'm not going to read that. But what you need to understand is, if you don't have the proper natural food, this artificial food actually block this natural mechanisms, and also this artificially added chemicals even enhance this tumor forming process. So we fall into real danger with the artificial food. So what is this big deal about having healthy food? And it's all about having the correct food type, correct amount, balance, and the frequency. The good foods actually, so this is from American Cancer Society. The good food brings the nutrients, of course, water, and also antioxidants, very important in cancer battle, and also phytonutrients. They also fight against some of the infections, and also related to cancer. And also they have direct anti-cancer compounds, just like drugs. So this is a very important thing to remember. If you are on a good diet, you will be saved. And also, if you are a cancer patient, still this is very, very good, because it has a lot of ways. Again, you start feeling better, and keep your strength and energy, maintain your body weight. It helps to better tolerate the treatments and the side effects. The lower the risk of infection, very important, and heal and recover faster. There are a lot of good things happening with the natural diet. Okay. So we are actually looking for answers for my cancer. So we already found one, quitting smoking. Now we found the second answer. Have the correct food habit. Stay away from processed food, and tune into a natural food habit. Now, what is the situation? 30% tobacco, 35% diet. That means if we do good in these two things, now I am 65% safe from getting a cancer. Okay. All right. So let's look at the third one. So this is the most important one. And I really want you all to pay attention to this. Many don't understand this, but I'm going to show you in a very scientific way. Stress causes cancer. It's been documented now. So there are a lot of scientific research coming out now showing the direct relationship between cancer and stress. Now, you need to understand this. We have been working on researching on all these Western medical developments on the materialistic side, the cells, body, the drugs. But now there are a lot of research showing how the mind-body connection. So there are a lot of research. I'm going to show you all of them. Not all of them. I mean, as much as I can, the important points to justify this statement. So let's start looking at what is stress means. Now, as this picture showing, a long time back, stress means if you face a very uh, a big animal who is trying to kill you. Now, there are two things you can do. One is you need to fight with the animal and win, or run away, right? So this is actually called famously fight or flight stimulus, and that is happening by adrenaline, noradrenaline, and there are multiple other stress hormones. When you face this kind of a situation, these stress hormones are released immediately into your body, and then it causes a lot of things. It increases your blood pressure, open your eyes, and shut down other unwanted mechanisms, including immune system. So giving full strength to your muscles, because you need to fight or flight, right? Okay, now let's look at modern situation. Now, this is how you wake up in the morning, and this is how you pour your coffee in the morning, and this is how you get ready to run to your job, and this is what happened in the traffic, right? And when you get to the office or workplace, this is what happened. And then this is how you go to your bed at the very end of the day, and right there you again start the next cycle. Now think about, is there any point that you have not undergone a stress? So throughout the day, we are undergoing stress. Not only that, I want to talk to you very, very important thing. The whole world is in our hands now through the internet, smartphones, and everything. Almost everyone think this is great, this is wonderful, but you forget this. You have to process all this information through your body, through your brain, and that connected to the body, and also through your mind. Now think about for a second how many things you process every moment. For a long, if you go back to the past, um, if you hear something sad news or bad news about a loved one, it may come through a letter or some other way. Okay, and then you absorb it, you process, and after some time you get back to your normal. Again, you don't hear something for a long time. Even it is a bad news or good news, it's isolated. But now, every moment we know what is happening with my wife, husband, kids, parents, friends, all around the world. And then what is happening with the game, match, scoring, and then what is happening in the political arena, natural things, disasters, everything. And everything comes to your mind every second, right? And you process. Now remember, all these are related to feelings, right? You get a feeling, either good or bad. So it is always you are in an excitement. That's a chronic stress. If you don't understand this, even though you don't understand it, it's really a stress, continuous stress. So this is a graph of how our immune system work under stress. At the beginning, it activate some actually activated, some goes down, but most importantly, it's going down and down and down if you have this chronic stress. So if you have chronic stress, always your blood pressure, heart rate increases, the digestive system has been disturbed, and most scaringly, it actually, these stress hormones bring your immune system down. So what happened? Stress causes the immunity down. So our body's protective system is down. Now what happened? So if I bring back this picture, the normal cells getting into the bad cells every moment, and if you don't take care of them, they will become a tumor. Now, if you are under stress, you don't think you are under stress, but every moment you are under stress. And then that means your immune system doesn't function well and it goes down. So the body cannot rely on the immune system, and these cells escape. This is just like putting down the National Guard of a country. So if the National Guard of the country is weakened, you know what happened, right? So this is the same situation. So if you're under stress, the immunity goes down, these cells escape. Now, I can tell you all this, but what are the scientific evidence? Now, there are a lot of scientific evidence coming out. So under stress, these hormones, stress hormones coming out, they are coming in chronic way. That means continuously coming out. And they actually increases this cell proliferation. That means the cell division, the cancer cell division. And also it increases the mutations happening, the genomic instability. And it increases the blood pressure, blood vessel formation to the tumors, the angiogenesis process. So it nourishes the tumor. And also it increases the cancer spread. Okay. And most scarily, the immune system goes down. The soldiers, the captains are taken out of the equation. So the cancer can survive very easily. And also there are many other metabolic disorders as well. Now, until recent times, we didn't appreciate this stress factor. So we were looking into all these different things, right? And there are tons of drugs on each of these areas. The chemotherapy actually mostly targeting this proliferation and this area. And there are a lot of drugs targeting angiogenesis, stopping blood vessel formations and the metastasis. And there are a lot of drugs around for each of these. So these are the ones that we were targeting. These are actually symptoms. These, we thought, okay, new blood vessel formation to the tumor is bad. So we're trying to stop that. So the tumor spreading is lethal. So we're trying to stop spreading the tumor. All right. So then when we try to do something, the tumor come up with another thing. So if you try to block the angiogenesis, it actually try to escape and then go to another place. So we were working around all these different things, but we actually, we didn't really appreciate the root cause. What was the root cause? The chronic stress. So if we address this here, it will affect all these things, and it will, I cannot say completely stop. It may, even in the, if we do it proper way. So then the drugs can work well, or even you don't need drugs if you address the root cause. If you get the chronic stress down, the immune system will function properly and it will survey all around. It's like strengthening the National Guard. So everyone will be protected. All right. So I'm going to run through this. I'm not going to explain this. I just want to give you different examples published in recent times in the literature. Again, these are showing, these are from Nature journals, the one of the topmost scientific journals. These stress hormones come out, and then how they are working on this wrongly affecting in the tumor. Again, this diagram also from same type of journals, showing all different areas that stress factor exposure connected with the tumor growth. And this is another one showing how the chronic stress affect badly. This is another one showing chronic stress promotes the cancer development. Since this is not a scientific discussion, I'm not going to explain. And we were talking about the signaling, and this is how the stress hormones promote tumor genesis and also the cancer development through this signaling. And these signaling are very, very important things for cancer growth. Again, this is another one showing the chronic stress enhance the inflammation, and then it promotes the tumor development. All these, there are lots of new scientific data showing how this stress connected to the tumor growth. Now, this is the website from National Cancer Institute in US, and it shows the study suggests a link between stress and the cancer coming back. All right. Now, I want to talk to you briefly one of the very interesting topic called epigenetics. Now, we all know our genetic code tells the message to define us, but we think it is coming from our parents. It's not only the case. There are a lot of genes that switch on or off because of our behaviors. So there are changes happening over the time in our lives to our genetic structure because of our behaviors and environment. It's like this. So we have a light bulb, but we have a switch. This light bulb is like a gene. Until you switch it on, it doesn't bring the light, right? So like that means there are a lot of switches and we can control all of them, most of them. So this epigenetics means how your behaviors and the environment affect turning on and off some of the cancer-related genes. Now, I'm going to show you one very beautiful study done at the University of San Francisco in USA. So what they did was they took prostate cancer patients, divided into two groups. That's how the clinical trials go. One group was given conventional treatment, the chemotherapy and other. And then the other group was given a low-fat, whole food, plant-based nutrition diet. They undergo stress management techniques like meditation, yoga, that type of practices, and moderate exercise, and participate in psychological group support. This is what they found. They actually went in to look at the genomic level before that and after the intervention. What they found was there were 48 genes turned on, 453 genes turned down. What are those? The 48 turned on were, most of them are cancer preventive genes. They are the ones that actually protect us from cancer. And the ones that goes down were the ones that actually really causing cancer. Isn't this beautiful? Now, this happened just by doing this, eating good food. You do the stress management techniques and moderate exercise, and also participate in the psychological group support. Again and again, a lot of factors related to building the psychological strength. So there are a lot more studies coming out like this, showing how our mind or the psychological component affect the body. Okay. This is again showing how these epigenetic factors affect in the different areas of the cancer growth. So what do we do? Again, we try to develop therapies to reduce the stress. That's fine. There are drugs being developed, and also the other things also coming up. Some traditional treatment types also being mentioned. And this is one of the examples. A connection to the vitamin C for the as a stress reducing factor. But again, now this doesn't say you need to take vitamin C every 4 hours. Don't do that. That's not the idea of this. Okay, so there are a lot of studies are needed to show how this can be useful. So I'm just showing a lot of different components coming up, showing this mind-body interaction. So, is that all we can do to reduce stress? No, right? We know one of the most powerful methods we have, which is described in the Buddhist philosophy, meditation, right? Let's talk about that. So the meditation, how the meditation help cancer prevention and treatment. So it improved the patient's immune function and the longevity. And also it helps turning on helpful genes. I described that in epigenetics. You can switch on good lights, okay? And also it reduces the side effects of cancer treatments, and most importantly, it bring the body in general back to the normal functions. That is what we need to do. Now, you may think I'm just listing those. No, it's all based on the scientific research. And this is actually the website that collect all the scientific findings in the world, which is called PubMed. Now, you can input the words, keywords, and find out articles published on those areas. Now, here actually I put meditation and cancer. There are 342 papers come out, but this was few years back. There are a lot more coming in now. Mindfulness and cancer, 285 papers. Yoga and cancer, over 300 research publications. There are a lot. So the Western research is really appreciating what is happening in the mind-body connection. Now, this is the website from Harvard Medical School. Look at the some of the articles they're publishing. Mindfulness meditation may ease anxiety and mental stress. This is another famous clinic here, Mayo Clinic. Meditation, a simple, fast way to reduce stress. And this is from our medical center, MD Anderson Cancer Center. There are a lot of integrative systems introduced now. Yoga, meditation into the normal treatment practices. Of course, we do a lot of all these cutting edge treatments. I didn't talk about all those, but I described the challenges we face in that area, but we are integrating a lot of this mind building and these stress releasing techniques. The meditation is one of the major component introduced, again showing different news about incorporating these meditation techniques. And this is actually from Houston Chronicle, the largest circulation in Texas, the newspaper. Meditation leader helps conquer cancer fear. So there are a lot of effort being recognized. Now, I have been talking about how this stress happening to us in every day-to-day life that causes all these problems, right? Especially cancer. Now, we brought up meditation as a solution. Now, immediately the thing come to our mind is, okay, we have to give up all this, drop all this, family, everyone, and go to the forest and do the meditation. Of course, if you can do that, that's good. But that's not only that. If you are a real Buddhist, if you understand the wisdom of the Buddhist philosophy that trying to tell us, it's not like give up everything and go to the forest. If you can stay calm, if you are not attached to the things around and also not detach or fight with things, you should be fine. You can live with your family, you can do everything, but you're not attached. So this type of livelihood is the most practical thing to do. You don't have to give up everything to practice meditation and also follow the real in-depth philosophies given in the Buddhism. I'm not, since we don't have time, and also I'm giving another talk in 2 weeks' time. So I'm going to get deeper into this area, the real connection between the research and also the Buddhist philosophy, understanding the wisdom. So, but anyway, if you do the meditation proper way, you can still live with the other things, but not getting into the stressful life. That's the message. So we were looking for answers for cancer. So the first we found quitting the smoking, and then we found having the good diet, and finally now we find live stressful life. Now what happened? Actually, the stress contribution is not calculated, but I am sure it will be a significant contribution. So now all together, if you do those things, we are about 80 to 90% safe. Now, when you look at this, you may think I know all this, but I don't think you have never thought about you can be escaped this much from this most dangerous disease by doing these things. I want to spend last few minutes telling you something connected to this, but very in a different way. Now, forget about all the things I mentioned. Now, let's stay focused on this. When our kids are growing, we want them to grow to a good person, right? So we give good education, and also we react to dangers around. So we do know those normal things. But what do we do on this kind of situation? Are we paying attention every moment? Here, this one is not just jumping a wall, but think about doing something wrong. And this one is looking for things, and this one is thinking about that. If you don't pay attention, they will continue to do wrong things. But if you do proper interventions, you can stop you can actually block their wrong things and let them to grow into a very good person, right? Now let's look at the cancer. I showed you this. A normal cell become wrong ones and escape and become a cancer. Now let's connect these two. This is the situation like here. A kid is trying to escape and start doing wrong things. And if you don't pay attention, they will become really bad people into the society, drug dealers, the robbers, or whatever, right? But if you make a good intervention at the very early stages, you can stop this. Even if they have gone through some of the wrong ways, you can still bring them back, right? But if you let these three things to engulf you, you will be in trouble. So that's what I was trying to tell you. These initial things, if you do properly, pay attention and take care of your body, you will be safe. Now, I promise you to come back to this picture at the very end. Again, I'm trying to show you something that you may have not thought. I mentioned this is a village. It's a system. It has houses, roads, bridges, rivers. Now, our body also is the same way. Now, think about a very, I'm actually showing you how the mind-body interaction works in a very simple way. Now, think about a very sunny, a beautiful day to this village. Everything is good. The kids going to school, all the officers are functioning well, really nice day, everyone playing in the outside. So we are very happy. But if it is a bad day, a snow day, or a stormy day, what happened? You cannot go out. Schools are not functioning well. Nothing happened well. Did we change the village? No, they are the same roads, same houses, same playgrounds, but you cannot do things because it's gloomy, it's bad day. So the same thing happened to our body as well, right? If your mind is not good, although you have all those organs, they are not functioning well. But if you feed the positive energy, it will do best. That's the message I want to give you from this picture. All right, let me summarize what we have been talking today. We were trying to find causes for cancer, and we found three major causes: tobacco, diet, stress. And there are more. The alcohol, there are multiple other things, but I didn't get into those, but I just focused only the three main areas. And then we very quickly, we found out these three things are not coming from outside. Therefore, we changed the question to from what causes cancer to who causes cancer. And we found it's me. I'm the culprit, right? So let's stop blaming outside. We always used to blame the outside and doesn't think about what are the wrong things I'm doing. It may be you may be doing it for everything, but if you don't do it here, meaning if you don't think about what are the wrong things you are doing, you will be falling into the trouble, into this dangerous disease. So I was looking for my answers for my cancer. And we found there are three major answers: quit smoking, have good diet, food habits, and then try to live stress-free life. And if you do that, I am now 80 to 90% safe from this really dangerous cancer. So you may think you know these things, but I don't think you have thought about this fact, and it is scientifically proving now. The Western research also incorporating these tools. So this is the message that I want to give you, and I think the time is almost up. So I'm happy to take any questions if you have. Thank you so much for your patience and listening to this very valuable information.
Thank you, Doctor. I think that was a very enlightening, educational topic that we had this evening. It has opened up a lot of eyes and I think thinking as far as the audience is concerned. We have a few questions that have been posed to us. I will just throw it onto the screen for you to have a look. Can you see the question, Doctor?
Okay, so the question is, how does one balance the acidity or alkalinity of the body to reduce or prevent the growth of cancer? Yes, that's a very good question. So the again, the very simple answer is keep it in the normal level. So the normal body pH is 7. pH is what measures the body acidity. The 7 is the normal number. So again, I can give you specific things, but think about very normal way. Just like I was describing the diet. If you take normal diet, the natural diet, it will actually keep everything in the normal way, the normal level, because our body is a part of the nature. So if you stay closer to the nature, that means take normal food, the more vegetables, the more fruit and things, and also have a lot of water. So the water never harm, always more water is better. And also this the acidity and alkalinity is related to ions, so you need to have a good balance of ions. So you need to have those in a proper level. Again, you don't have to take something additionally, especially unless you have some kind of a disease or something that make it in balance. Otherwise, if that happens, your doctor will instruct how to bring it back to the normal. But otherwise, in a normal situation, if you have a normal diet, you don't have to do anything. It will bring the things into the normal situation. That's a very general answer. Again, don't think about I have to take that vitamin or this thing, that thing, if it is normal. Why and how sugar, milk, dairy product affect cancer? Again, there are a lot of ways. Now, sugar, if you take a cell, to grow the cells, you need energy, right? So how does the energy comes? Energy comes from food. Food means really the sugar, the glucose. And then you need oxygen to burn it and produce the energy. So that's what is needed for a normal cell. Now, if you think about a cancer cell, I mentioned they are fast growing. They are growing much faster than the normal cells. Now, what happened? The cancer cells need more and more energy. That means if you eat a lot of sugar, what do? You actually feed cancer. So I can give you a very interesting example. Now, I don't know if there are cancer patients here or who knows this. If you undergo PET imaging, there is a drink given you to drink before the test. So that's actually sugar contained with the radio label letter. Now, the way diagnosis happen is when you drink that sugar drink, most of the sugar being captured by the tumor because it needs more and more energy, and then it light up. That's how we find it. So the sugar feed cancer directly because it simply needs more energy, so it gets more. So if you eat lot and lot of sugar, it's not good. And then the other things also the same way. Again and again, if you do something beyond the natural level, that's not good. So the dairy products also has been documented as not good for cancer. Again, there are different mechanisms have been identified, but rather than getting into the detail, let me tell you in simple way. Now think about milk, right? So why do we need milk? Do adults need milk? Milk is for an infant to grow at the very beginning of the life. And also for humans, it's our mother's milk, human milk. That's also for first few years of the life. So it brings nourishment, protection, and all of those. That's must. That's very, very important at the very beginning of the life. But over the years, you don't need it. And then what are we doing? We don't even drink mother's milk, right? We drink cow's milk, which is not made for us, and then by the nature. So I'm not trying to tell this has been proven, but I think again that's going out of the natural situation. Adults don't need milk, and we try to drink milk, and also not for humans. Again, I'm not talking about the nutritions. The nutritions are there in both milks. The protein and everything is there. But there may be something we don't know yet. So there are a lot of unknown factors associated with cancer, how much the science is developed. There are a lot of, every time, every day, when the research goes through this cancer problem, we find something new that was unknown before. Everything yields to kind of the showing the complexity. So the bottom line is stay as natural as possible. That's the answer. There are so many good healing protocols. This can be quite overwhelming. Is there anyone who can guide us to help us implement good protocols? Okay, I know this. So this is actually, I really like someone asked this question. Yes. Okay. So when these things are finding over the time, especially in recent years, there are a lot of different things have been come out. But you need to understand this. Exactly. Take that example, what I said about that vitamin C. Yes, the mechanisms are seems to be vitamin C seems important, and even take it as kind of a therapy. But does it mean just like you take a drug every 4 hours, can you take that vitamin C every 3 or 4 hours? If you do that, your liver and kidney will badly affected. So don't do that. So I know it's very hard to find the correct protocol. And also no one knows exactly how to do. But one thing I can very clearly say that I did say every time, stay as close as to the nature as possible as to the nature as a general principle, and take a natural diet and stay calm, practice meditation type techniques, yoga type techniques, and stay natural as possible. Keep that rule in your mind. But again, I don't think this exact protocol has been implemented and described. This is exactly what you should do. And also, I want to warn you some other things. And this is a modern day problem. Now, I try to get into that also because of this internet, the social media, Google, YouTube. Okay, there's no proper validation of the things that are the things getting into those social media and the news. At least some time back, the newspapers or journals, especially scientific journals, are doing very good because that's been peer reviewed. When we publish something, it has to go through at least 2 to 3 reviewers, and that's how exactly our publications. Even just in the morning, I got a email, one of my publications got accepted, so that went through about 3 4 months, reviewing by other reviewers. That's good. So believe the scientific articles coming in. But in the social media, um, internet, Google, you may find correct answers, but most of them are not good because everyone can put their things. Again, I go back to that vitamin C example. So let's say if I was not in the research field, when I hear this vitamin C thing, I do some Google or something and find few things, and even it may work for me. So then what I'm doing, I put it, that my story, into the internet, saying this is good, and then everyone try to take it. That's wrong. That's not good. So very unfortunately, there are a lot of uh, some misleading, but also most actually incomplete. So again, I don't have a direct answer, but try to stay as close as to the nature. Read and believe the scientific research published in the proper journals that's been validated, and also believe the correct news coming from proper places. Other than that, if you find something, uh, don't try to just follow those blindly. What is your recommendation, additional nutrition for cancer patients with tube feeding or other than milk? Um, Again, actually, for this milk thing, don't misunderstand what I meant. Now, I was talking about with related to cancer initiation and the prevention, how the milk affect. But exactly as I mentioned, it contains the nutritions. If you are a cancer patient, if you cannot eat and you have to take milk, it has to be taken to keep your body moving forward, right? The nutritions. So uh, because of the complexity of this cancer, these information also need to be processed very carefully. So the milk question, I mentioned for a normal people, not to uh, create a situation or fall into the danger of getting a cancer. But if you're a patient, you have to, if you have to take it, yeah, you have to take it. So don't think it in the wrong way. Um, Especially if you have to be, if you cannot eat, then the milk is needed in terms of nutrition. Okay. So, is it okay for an 8-year-old not to consume milk at all? No, don't go that way. Again, that's why I said I am not saying 100% to stop it. For kids, you need milk. But slowly bring it down, and then again, you have to have a balance. Now, um, again, I'm going to relate this to the Buddhist philosophy. Don't go to extreme ends on anything. You have to have a balance. So, um, even for a kid, I meant the mother's milk for first few years, it's much needed, and then over the time it can be reduced, the milk needing. So the milk, why we let's go to the again the root uh, cause or root need for this, right? We need nutritions, right, and the protection. So the smallest kid cannot eat, therefore milk is needed as a liquid, and then nature produces it as the mother's milk with all the nutritions and the protection. Perfect. And you go through that, and over the time, the human start eating, right? And then you can get those nutritions through that, and then you can slowly reduce the milk part. But it's okay for certain time frame having milk. I'm not saying, so don't take this now as I advise to stop giving milk. I'm really glad that you brought that question, because then people may think, okay, after the mother's milk, I said no need of milk. It's not what I said. You can slowly reduce it. And at a time when the kids are really taking all the nutritions through other things, over the time you can reduce it. And also remember this, let's say even an adult, if you take a cup of milk, that will not going to cause cancer next day. Don't take it that way. What I said was chronically taking things over the time. If you're really addicted to that, that's bad. So that's why I said the milk can be reduced over the time. And then even teenagers, and if you really engage in sports or something, you need. So it depends on the situation. But again, as a general rule, try to reduce it over the time, as long as you get the nutrients and other things from other sources. When we were young, we never heard of cancer among friends and family. Was cancer present in 1940s and before that? Is this a new disease? Okay, no, it has been there. I think there are documented history also for a long time back about cancer. It was there. So let me go back to the slides that I was showing. A normal cell can acquire mutations and going bad. Even right now, let's say, this is what I'm trying to... okay, so let's... it's not working well. That's fine. We don't need to go to that. So, this process that normal cells trying to go into, not trying, actually naturally happening. So even right now when I'm talking, thousands of cells going wrong directions in my body, in your body also, but they have been brought back to the normal situation. It's like in a assembly line. So when something is wrong, they stop the process and then correct it and then move forward. So that has been happen every time in the evolution. But what happened was, over the time, and then at that time also, even though it is not really documented as cancer, this would have been there. The cells might have escaped, so and they got cancer. People don't know what happened and they die. We don't know. Now, for example, even if you take brain cancer, the glioblastomas, even today, most of the glioblastomas are even not documented. You know why? People die and don't know the exact cause. It's because of brain cancer. It grows very rapidly and kill the patient. And so that can happen. So like that, it would have been there in the history. But recent times, This is very, very clear. This is documented. Because of these wrong things we are doing, this has escalated very, very rapidly. That's what happened now. Of course, that's the exact point of my talk. What are those? Because of the smoking, like you mentioned, 1940s, and we first found that was the first time we appreciate, okay, I'm doing something wrong, because we were blaming outside. And then the diet, stress, now we are in a situation, okay, we understand very clearly, it's me. I need to do a lot of things to prevent this. At the rate the world is developing and evolving, everything is stress related or stress causing. So how can we avoid cancer? Actually, that's one of the best questions I want to see. Actually, I was trying to get at that also. If you're a Buddhist, think about this. So what Buddhism tells us? So its main philosophy is actually not to attach to the outside, and also not to fight with things, and basically let go, right? So let go means not like you drop your wife, husband, family and go to forest. That's not the case, right? So live with everything, but you don't take it into you, and especially as feelings, right? So if you try to do that, if you live that way, what happened? Your body, now let's get into your body situation, the normal situation. In normal situation, like I said, the cells are there, they are growing, normal things are happening. So the ones that want to jump out also try to do that. But what happened? Your body is under normal situation, very normal, no stress, right? If you don't attach or don't detach or fight other things, things are normal. So the immune system is really good, normal protection is there, everything will be normal. Now I cannot say 100% that's the, if you do by just meditation you can completely do everything, but it's a holistic thing. You need to have good food, proper things. Now especially related to your question about the stress, everything is stress, yes. So we need to find a way to manage this. Now, as I said, everybody appreciate this, having smartphones and the internet and everything, which brings everything closer to together. But we don't see the bad side. Now we are the ones who really tested now on this situation. You know, when drugs are developed, I mentioned, we test them in animals and humans. And then if it fails, we drop it. Now, with these modern developments, the information fed into us every moment, it is a really big danger. And over the time, we will start seeing, and even you already seen, I'm not going to name, there are sports people, really big artists, and many people sometimes stay out of their field because there's a lot of stress. So you need to have a balance, and I think that's why I said always we are inherited as Buddhists this really very good, beautiful technique. And again, if you really think about the real philosophy, the deep into the Buddhism, it has really good answers, just like what I meant, a beautiful concept and tools about not attaching to things and not fighting with things. So stay calm, let go things, but still doing everything, right? But to do that, you need to have the practice. That means you need to do the meditation a long period. When you do that, you start doing that. I mean, they get into that very controlled situation that you can control most of the things within you.
Thank you, Doctor. I think we have spent quite a lot of time. I didn't realize that we've had so many questions for you. Actually, we do have one last question, which I will pose shortly. But just as a comment, I had a personal friend who was relatively well-to-do, and he was a cancer patient, and he was doing well. He was in remission for a while. He was leading a normal life, and then at one stage in his life, he was kidnapped and abducted. And then after a couple of days, he was released after paying a ransom. So after that, because of the stress that he had gone through in that episode in his life, his cancer came back, and he passed away within a couple of months. So your point about stress causing cancer, or taking you out of remission for your cancer, is quite a valid point, Doctor.
Of course, it is very, very important to remember. Thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't touch about the cancer survivors. You have to be very, very, very careful, because you got the cancer because there may be a natural tendency in your body. It may come back again, but don't afraid. This is the biggest thing. For normal person, a cancer patient, survivor, don't afraid about this. That immediately put you into the negative mindset. Don't go for that. If you are in all three levels, no cancer, cancer, or survivor, never go to the negative mindset. Always keep it in positive. Even if you are in a very last stages, and I have examples by myself in a very last stages, cancer patients not almost give up from the Western medical system. You cannot be survived, but they got saved. They lived years through these positive thinking and practices. So please be in positive mindset. That's what I want to tell, most probably, as the last thing. So another question. Taking chemo will be like fighting against karma, against Buddha's teaching. How should we have proper thought of it? Taking chemo will be like fighting against karma, against Buddha's teaching. How should we proper thought of it? I mean, I don't know whether I'm properly understanding the question. How should have properly thought of it? So that we can have a lot of thoughts and explanations and philosophies. Yeah, karma is another very big topic. If you get into that, and we can say a lot of things, connections, of course. Karma brings us so many bad things, and but remember, Buddha always taught us how much positivity in inside you, how much I can do, right? So bring that up. So that should be the answer for everything, not only for this, but again, that's the thing. Now if I say in Sinhala, I think the word Prabhashvara Hita, the most powerful and illuminated mind, can do a lot of things, and but it is covered with all these the defilements, and that's what happened. But if you do meditation, and especially understanding the world, and try to get rid of unwanted things, and that mind will start coming out, and it brings a lot of positive energy. And it is, it's always connected to the body, right? That's what I was trying to show. So the body, we were simply following these body changes in the medicine for a long time, but that's not the root cause. It's actually the mind, mostly. Now when we find that, if you purify that, it can bring back everything back to the normal functioning.
Sorry, Doctor. We have one last question. I think we'll have to end this evening's Dhamma sharing. But Doctor, will you kindly answer this last question, and
That's
then we can
fine.
wrap it up, yeah? Okay.
Many have recommended to eat especially some leaf greens and vegetables raw. What is your comment on this? Okay, now here's the thing. Again, I can answer it in the general way. So we are also part of the nature. So our digestive system has been evolved to digest natural food. So if the vegetable or whatever should be eaten in the natural way, uh, which is without cooking or something, that should be fine. But if something need to be cooked, and sometimes all these proper methods, meaning like cooking or boiling, also related to something. It may be because it needs to kill pathogens and before we eat, and there are a lot of things attributed. Don't look at things in only one way. So I don't know. I don't need to relate this to fiber. So we need a lot of fiber when we eat, especially with some other food. But I think your question is about just eating raw. If it is known, it was the habit for a long time. That's fine. But if it is needed to be cooked for proper ones, it should be fine. But not the vice versa.
Okay, Doctor, we have come to the end of this evening's Dhamma sharing. And thank you so much for taking your time off from your busy schedule. I know you're a very busy researcher back in Texas. And to the audience, Dr. Gomika will be with us again on the 27th of April. 27th of February, the Sunday. And Doctor will be speaking on basically, I think, research, basically on his research work and its relationship with wisdom in Buddhism. And so, on behalf of the Committee of Management and the monks of the Buddhist Mahavihara, let me take this opportunity to thank Dr. Gomika for being with us this evening and sharing his huge, vast knowledge on cancer and cancer research with us. I think we have really benefited from his experience and his knowledge. And I think we will, and I can see from the comments that we are receiving on our Facebook pages, there are very many good comments. I've not posted it to you, Doctor. Maybe you will later on. You can just scroll on our Facebook page and see the comments and some of the questions that were related. And so also to our sponsors this evening for helping us carry on with our Dhammadana series, and also to all our viewers who are here with us this evening. I think there are quite a number of you this evening, quite more than the average that we have on an average Dhammadana series talk. So with that, Doctor, thank you so much, and Sukhi Hotu, and have a pleasant evening, one and all. We will see you again on February 27th. Yeah.
Sukhi Hotu for everyone, and also Aiboan.